We're getting a lot of phone calls from understandably paranoid workers who are very worried about catching coronavirus, COVID-19 in the workplace. And a lot of them are saying, hey, my employer's not doing anything or they're not doing enough to prevent it from being spread. What are my legal rights? And what I'm telling people is, first of all, I get it, right? I used to never notice when people would cough or sneeze unless I was really paying attention. Now when I hear somebody coughing, and even if it's far away where I wouldn't have even noticed it before, I mean, it's like a blaring sound in my ears. So I get it. We're all worried. We're all worried about what's going around. So, we're understandably concerned. So here's what the law says about it. If your employer is not following very basic safety requirements, you can contact OSHA. If you go to their website, you can actually file a complaint there and disclose what's happening. If you Google OSHA and COVID-19, they have guidance out there about what employers should be doing in the workplace to keep their employees safe. Some of those things are basic things like having soap and water available, discouraging workers from using each other's phones and computers during this time, maintaining social distancing. They're all sort of common sense things that should be going on. With that said, under OSHA rules, you typically can't refuse to show up to work just because you're concerned. Now, if you have an imminent risk of serious bodily injury or bodily harm, that's a different story, but that's not an easy standard to show. Another idea that we've raised with some of our employee clients who have called up about what they can do is, if your employer is slacking and they're not taking the type of precautions that a reasonable employer would do, you have some rights to try to make change in the workplace. You can circulate a petition if you're a non-supervisory employee where you have all the other employees, or as many as you can get, to sign off on something, saying we demand that you start having soap and water available, using social distancing, those kinds of things. You have the right under the National Labor Relations Act in many cases to be able to do that. Another thing you can do is you can create an online web page or a Facebook page where everybody comes together to approach management. If you get fired for doing something like that, you may have rights under the National Labor Relations Act to protect yourself and take action to make sure that the workplace is a better place for everybody. So it's a changing area. There's not a lot of similar guidance in situations like this, but there are rights of employees. And if you are taking those actions, make sure you're doing it in a respectful and appropriate way, with the effort being to make changes at your workplace.